Mike Owens here, joined by Reece McEwan after the second round submission at Cage Warriors Manchester. Reece, how were emotions after the win?
Yeah, mixed. Obviously disappointed in losing the first round, but at the end of the day, I got another win under my belt, another finish under my belt. I just submitted a BJJ black belt, so yeah, positives to take away from that.
The very first point from that answer was that you were disappointed in losing the first round. How much is the perfectionist coming out in you right now?
Look, I know at the end of the day, a fight, you're always going to face adversity. You're not going to win every second. You're not meant to win if you're winning every second, you're not fighting the right people. So at the end of the day, I know I dropped that first round, but in my three Cage Warriors fights where I've dropped rounds and came back. The Sam Spencer fight, I lost the second round massively. The Kingsley Crawford fight, I lost the first round, went on to win two. I'm not like. It's not always going to be straightforward, but at the end of the day, win at all costs. That's what one of my coaches, Ian, was saying to me: win at all costs, and I won tonight. So that's what's smarter. When we go back to the drawing board, we'll dissect the fight, and at the end of the day, between round 1 and round 2, we made adjustments, and I feel I applied the adjustments, and then got a submission win, however long was left in the round. So.
Talking about the submission win, talking about that guillotine in the second round, can you walk me through the emotions of not only securing that guillotine, but then the emotions after you feel the tap?
So when he had me against the fence, like I said in the first round was all about, he was chasing submissions, but I could feel him getting weaker. I knew as the round went on that would favour me. So I knew, and I could see when I was hitting the body, it wasn't the same, and I could just feel the strength wasn't the same. So when he pinned me against the cage, I know I've got a good guillotine threat, so when I wrapped that up, and I was getting tighter, and I can see him fighting, and I was like, this is only getting tighter here. I said, I've got this. You're not getting out of this, because the fence is behind me. You have to know that you're not getting out of this. And then I felt the tap, and I was like, the referee's not touching me though, just in case, because I thought I had an armbar in round 1, and he got out it. So, and then afterwards it was like, right, you won, but still a wee bit angry. But again, won at all costs.
Obviously, we saw a massive contingent of Scottish fans down here in Manchester for you tonight. What does that feel like when you've got such a strong Scottish centre of the crowd in the watching your fight?
It's incredible. From very early on as an amateur career, every show I've went to, it's always you've sold the most tickets, you've sold the most pay-per-views, and then when you come to Cage Warriors, it's like when I came here, I said I've always got a big support. And like we went to Manchester, went to London, came back down to Manchester, and hear that crowd, the place went crazy. I know I've not watched any fights, I've been in the back, but the crowd's not made that noise, and I hope that goes a long way, because every person that's came down to Manchester has travelled from Scotland. It's a long day for them. They've spent money to come here. They've committed their day to be here, and I want to thank them all from the bottom of my heart. Honestly, they gave up their Saturday, they gave up their Sunday because they'll be hungover, but the support's absolutely incredible, and like I said, it motivates me every day. I swear, there's not a day goes by that I don't think about that.
When we're seeing Cage Warriors move a little bit to go on the road, a little bit more, move a little bit away from just the shows in London, does that inspire confidence in you that we could see a Cage Warriors return to Scotland?
I would absolutely love that. I would absolutely imagine they brought a show to Scotland and I won the belt there or defended the belt there. That would be incredible. I appreciate the logistics are extremely hard. So, but in my head, it would be amazing. It would be incredible.
You've said there about winning the belt. I'd like to talk a little bit about what's next for you. Obviously, you originally matched against Adam Wilson. That fight fell through. Is that a fight you still want, or do you feel like with tonight's win, you've surpassed the win over Wilson and looking to bigger and better things?
Look, the division's packed, right? So I came into the promotion off a loss. I went a performance in the night bonus in my first fight. The second fight, I beat the number 1 contender. And then the third fight, I accept Adam Wilson within seconds. I fight the replacement, a jiu-jitsu black belt, a guy I know nothing about. I go in there, I face adversity, and I get 3 fights in a row, 2 finishes in Cage Warriors. If it's the belt next, let's do it. If it's not, if we need to go and fight another top contender, let's do it. I honestly don't care if it's the next fight, the fight after that. I said I've got 5 fights in my deal, and I'll get the belt before those 5 fights. I'm in fight number 3. So whatever Cage Warriors think, Ian Dean, Graham Boylan, my manager thinks, my team thinks, I'm all for it.
Last question from me, and you've kind of alluded to this answer a little bit, but as you mentioned, start of the year, moving from 3-1 to 6-1. Can you talk to me about the emotions now rounding off this year and how much you've accomplished under this Cage Warriors banner?
Yeah, 100%. Like, when I was in that guillotine in round 1, it took me back to my fight last year where I lost by submission, right? And when that guillotine was on, I was like, you're not feeling the way you felt last year. See, last year, honestly, it ripped my worlds to shreds. See, for about a month, I felt like smiling. I felt when I smiled, I was lying to everyone. I was honestly so down, it just hit me so hard. I thought I can't go through that again, and I wrote a message to myself and I sent it out to people. I said, see, this time next year I'm going to be 6-1 or 7-1 and a step closer to Cage Warriors Gold. Today I'm 6-1 and a step closer to Cage Warriors Gold. I've achieved, nobody can break me, that's my goals. I came back from the adversity, 3 fights in a row on my way to Cage Warriors Gold.
Congrats on the win and enjoy tonight's celebrations. I know the Scots like a party.
Yeah, definitely. We're partying for me. Thanks so much.